You are likely feeling the weight of an overwhelming task list. You're juggling client work, creative projects, administrative tasks, new opportunities, all while trying to maintain the quality and creativity that defines your work. The good news is you're not alone. This is the reality for almost every creative professional I've worked with over the past 20 years. And the better news is there's a systematic way out of the chaos, and it doesn't require you to work longer hours or abandon your creative projects. Let's get into it.
Equipping creative businesses to unleash their best work.
Welcome back to the Chief Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin Pead, founder and owner of Chief Creative Partners, where you get to create and we operate. I'm so glad that you're with us here. If you haven't been with us the past few weeks, just to get you caught up, we are writing my next book called Creative Work, the 10 Systems Every Creative Business Needs. We're spending these next few weeks, the past few weeks and the next several weeks ahead, writing that book in real time. I'm fleshing out my thoughts right here on the podcast in efforts to write that book and share it with the world. So you're getting a sneak peek and early access of that as we talk about these things from week to week. And last week we got started in chapter 1 with the do versus do framework. And this week we're back and we're going to talk about what I call the priority framework. Now, just like every kind of framework or method or application that I have in my tool belt, they have been derived over a long period of time, like I said, over 20 years. And I've been taking different things from different people in the same space, productivity experts, organizational experts, business leaders, all these different things. And I've put them together and kind of created my own template and use case out of them. And the priority framework is one that comes up time and time again because I work with creatives and I help them first understand what the workload is that they have to do, right? And that's kind of last week's episode in the do versus do framework. But then once they see, wow, I actually have a lot to do, now it's about organizing and distilling those things down into the priority for them. What is the priority for them? It's going to help them clear the mental fog of the task overwhelm that they're probably feeling right now. It's going to help you identify what actually deserves your attention, right? It's going to create focused work sessions for meaningful projects, and it's going to handle urgent requests without derailing your day, leaving you to feel confident and your energy to be put towards your most valuable work. So let's get started in this priority framework. So this framework is pretty simple, but it does take some time that you'll need to set aside to get it done. I can promise you in the end, it's going to be worth it. There are 3 steps to clarity that I lay out here in the priority framework, and you're going to see that there are a couple different already existing tools. They're not proprietary to what I have created, but we're going to put 2 of those things together with an initial method of mine, and out of it, you're going to be able to understand what your priority is each and every day. So I encourage you to use this method anytime you feel overwhelmed by the amount of tasks related to the amount of time that you have to complete those tasks. Hopefully that's not every day, but maybe once a quarter, once a month, and you'll be able to kind of eliminate the noise, if you will, as to what's landed on your to-do list, so that you can focus on the things that you actually need to focus on, that actually need your priority. And step 1 is this, of the 3 steps. Step 1 is to brain dump everything. Now, this seems like a little arbitrary, a little elementary, but in order for us to understand the parts that we're working with, we have to get it all out of our head where it lives kind of rent-free and jumbled up, and we really can't make sense of up or down or left or right. We need to get all those things out, and we need to get them onto paper. Now, I would encourage you to handwrite this if possible, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Handwriting is good because it allows you to kind of release the stress physically as you're emptying your mind of the things. But at the end of the day, all you really need to do is get the things that are in your mind out and onto paper. So what are the things that are floating around in your head that you think you need? Even if you already have them written down in your task list, right? Even if they're already there. What we want to do here is we want to get everything out so that we can work with a fresh mind and we can work with the puzzle pieces that we know that are available. So we're going to brain dump everything. And step 2 is we're going to ruthlessly categorize those things. We're going to sort those tasks, and you're going to see we're going to use some urgency and some importance for those tasks. And then lastly, we're going to put those things through the focus funnel so that we can apply specific actions to each category. So let's dive in to these steps. Step 1, brain dump everything, right? I said this is a mental release. It's not designed to be a task management system. Our brains are not designed to be a task management system. When you try to hold everything in your head, you're going to create mental tension that clouds your thinking and reduces your creative capacity. So a typical brain dump process, I set a timer for about 15 minutes. That way you're controlling it and you don't kind of end up lost in this mindless zone of brain dumping, right? You'll set a timer for 15 minutes. And you're going to write down every task, every project, every idea, every concern, every I think we need to, everything we should have, everything we think we should do right now. All that stuff floating around in your mind, you're going to write every single thing down. Don't organize it. Don't prioritize it. Just get it down on paper. And like I said, include everything. Big projects, small tasks, client work, and personal projects, ideas, and maybe some concerns you have, things that you should do and things that you want to do. All should be considered when emptying your brain of all the stuff that's in your head. So these things might be like client work, which are active project tasks, pending revisions, client communication needs, project planning requirements. It might be business development, right? You have proposals that you need to write. You need networking activities that you need to get on your calendar. You need to update your portfolio. You need to execute some marketing tasks. It might be administrative. You have invoices that need to be sent. You have payments that need to be made. You have emails that need to be managed. You have systems that you need to update. You have files that need organizing. It might be creative projects, right? You have a personal creative work that you're wanting to accomplish. Write a book, execute a painting, take more photography. There's skill development, maybe. Maybe it's experimental projects. Maybe it's different learning opportunities. There's also life and personal things that come up, right? Tasks that are affecting your work schedule, personal commitments that impact your creativity, health and renewal activities. The goal is to get all of those things down. And what you're going to notice is that most people, and you'll probably experience this as well, are going to experience immediate mental relief after a thorough brain dump. You'll likely notice clearer thinking, reduced anxiety about possibly forgetting something because now it's actually written down, right? You'll have better perspective on your actual task volume, not just what might be lingering. And you'll start identifying tasks that you forgot that you were even carrying. So step number 1 of the priority framework is a good brain dump. Set that timer and get it done. Step number 2, ruthless categorization. And here's what I mean by that. And here's what we use. We use the Eisenhower Matrix. Now, the Eisenhower Matrix is obviously named after President Eisenhower, and it was what he used for decision-making process to help him distinguish what was the most urgent and most important. Because when you're president of the United States, there are a lot of things coming at you, and you need to focus on what's the most urgent and the most important. Not just urgent, not just important, and certainly not neither important or urgent. So it simply looks like this. There's you take a sheet of paper, you draw a giant square on it, and then inside of that square, you'll put a giant plus sign to make 4 smaller squares. Now you have 4 quadrants, right? You have an upper left, an upper right, a lower left, and a lower right. So quadrant 1, I always put in the upper right. This is both urgent and important. That's the category that we write there. Things that end up in here from your brain dump, we're going to take those things, we're going to put them in one of these 4 boxes. And the things that end up in quadrant 1, the urgent and important, those are true emergencies and critical deadlines, right? I always say use the 24-hour rule. If it needs to get done in the next 24 hours and it's crucial to your business that this has to get done in the next 24 hours, then I say it's probably urgent and important if it's crucial to your business, right? Time-sensitive opportunities with real impact. Those are the things that go in the urgent and important. Now, quadrant 2, just under that, so bottom right, is where we put things that are important but not urgent, right? This could be strategic creative work. This could be skill development and learning, relationship building and networking, system improvements and planning. All important stuff, but not critical for the next 24 hours. Now, opposite that, on the top left, is where urgent but not important goes. These are things like interruptions and unnecessary meetings, emails and phone calls, other people's poor plannings that have all of a sudden become your emergency, administrative tasks that possibly could be automated. But these are the things that are like, hey, this needs to happen in the next 24 hours. But honestly, it doesn't really move the needle, but it does still need to happen. And then quadrant 4 is under that on the bottom left. This is neither urgent or important, right? This is busy work and time fillers. This is social media scrolling, right? This might be perfectionist tweaking of completed work. This might be activities that you do out of habit, but not with purpose. So as you're taking your brain dump list and you're putting it in each category, ask yourself this: for urgency, what happens if this waits for another 24 hours, 48 hours, or even a week? Is this urgent because of my planning, or is it someone else's poor planning? Am I confusing urgency with anxiety? There's a big difference between urgency and anxiety. And so really ask yourself that important question. For importance, ask yourself, does this directly contribute to my creative goals or my business success? Will this matter 6 months from now? So once we've taken our mind dump and we've put it in one of those 4 categories, now we can start to see things a little bit more clearly. And what I like to say is, you're doing it right if about 20% or less of the things that you mind dumped end up in your top most urgent and important quadrant, the top right quadrant. If that has more than 20% of the things that you have put on your brain dump list, then I would encourage you to be even more ruthless. You weren't ruthless enough with that categorization. So now what do we do with each of these quadrants? This is step 3. This is where the focus funnel comes into play. And if you don't know what the focus funnel is, I'm not sure who originated this, but essentially it's a way of understanding, do I need to do this thing, automate, eliminate, delegate, procrastinate? Those are the options in the focus funnel. So we're going to take each quadrant, right? Look at the urgent and important, that top right one that should have 20% or less of your things. And these are the things that as we're going through the focus funnel, we'll go, okay, important and urgent probably can't be procrastinated, definitely can't be eliminated. These are the things that we actually need to get our priority, and we need to do it now. Quadrant 2 in the bottom right, important but not urgent. This is where we can look at possibly automating or delegating, because it's important, but it's not super urgent. So you have time to schedule it out. You can also procrastinate in that quadrant as well. You can block time for these activities in your calendar. You can set up time to delegate this to somebody else, or you can spend 30 minutes trying to figure out a way to automate these important but not urgent things. In the upper left quadrant, where it's urgent but not important, this is where we definitely can automate or delegate. Very similar to the bottom right corner of important but not urgent, we can automate or delegate these things. This is an opportunity for us to take tasks that feel urgent but don't require our specific creative expertise. It's perfect for things like automating tools and systems, delegating to team members or freelancers, standardizing this stuff to reduce your own time investment. Things like email templates or invoicing or payment systems or social media scheduling or project management workflows. All things that would be great to automate or delegate. Do that by hiring VA or admin assistants. You can use service providers for non-creative work, just like I use for all of my billing or financial stuff. You can train team members to handle routine client communication. You can partner with other professionals like me who complement your services. And in the last quadrant, not urgent, not important, this is where we can either eliminate it or procrastinate it. Eliminating it meaning like, you know what? I thought we needed this, but things have changed. We actually don't need it. Or I'm task hoarding, and it turns out we don't really need to do 8 things to pull off this project. We really just need to do 3 things to pull off this project. And I'll say here, if you're using AI to determine what tasks you need to execute a project, and you're relying solely on that, I can tell you that it's going to give you 8 tasks where you really only need 3. So always proofread that stuff. Or sometimes, you know what? It is something that you need to do, right? But it's not super urgent and it's not super important that it get done. So we're going to put it on our back burner, and we're going to come back and we're going to revisit those tasks once a month or once a quarter to go, maybe now's the time that we move it into one of the other quadrants, or we finally go, you know what? It's staying there in that lower left quadrant of not urgent, not important long enough that we can actually eliminate it. And we get to cross things off our list entirely. We get to feel the freedom of going, you know what? I thought I had 100 things to do. Only 20 of them are actually urgent and important for the next 24 to 48 hours. The other 80 are not. And you know what? About 40 of those 80 that were left, they actually belong in the lower left-hand corner of that Eisenhower Matrix, and they're not urgent or important, and I can either procrastinate it or I can eliminate it entirely. So allow yourself time and space, 15-minute timer on the clock to do a complete full brain dump. I like to get the big full 2 foot by 3 foot post-it notes and hanging up on my office wall, or I'll take my Remarkable notepad and go sit away from my desk because I don't want to be influenced by anything in my normal work environment, and I'll just write. And if I forgot it, guess what? That's probably a key indicator that it's not urgent or important. Then we're going to take the Eisenhower Matrix. We're going to draw the 4 quadrants, right? And we're going to start to take everything from that brain dump list. We're going to put it on there, and we're going to identify where things actually live in the scope of urgency, which helps us figure out our priority. Now we know the things that are in the top right, we know what to do with those. That's our priority. Everything else gets eliminated, automated, delegated, or procrastinated through the focus funnel. So look, the creative professional's dilemma of balancing urgent client needs with important creative work doesn't have to be a permanent state of chaos. This priority framework can give you a systematic way to honor both practical demands of running your creative business and the deeper work that it takes to make that business meaningful. Remember, clarity is a practice, not a destination. Some days you're going to feel completely in control of your priorities, and other days you're going to feel like everything is urgent and important again, and that should be an indicator that it's time to pull out the priority framework. It's normal. It's human. It's the creative professional's reality. The difference is now you have a proven system for finding your way back to clarity quickly rather than staying lost in the chaos. That's all for this week and chapter 2 on the priority framework. Next week, we're going to dive into chapter 3, the last chapter of section 1 of the Creative Work book. We're going to be talking about the Future You method. This is a note-taking method to help you keep the context as you're context switching throughout your day and throughout your week. Cannot wait to share that with you next time on the Chief Creative Podcast. Have a great week.